Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes to the non-gender conforming individuals out here because we are about inclusion on this channel. It is your homie CT, aka your man's Mind of a Don. And like the title of this video says, we are getting into part 2 of the Virginia Gubernatorial Debate or Governor Debate 2025. Goobers. You got two goobers, two goober S's. We got Abigail Sparrenberger and Winsome Earle-Sears are the goobers debating the gubernatorial candidates. I'm the only goober in the factor right now. So this goober is about to react to part 2 of their debate, and we can get into it. Part 1, I would say this part is going to be better because we got the volume fixed so you can actually hear, unlike part 1.
Welcome you back. A hot topic in Virginia's schools, and for this question, you will both have a chance for a rebuttal. Ms. Spanberger, we're going to start with you. Focusing on a K-12 school system, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a mother of 3 daughters.
I don't know.
Public schools, and nothing is more important to me than their safety and their experience.
That's a conversation that I think needs an actual panel of people to discuss, not just one person's take.
And so nothing is more important to me than the safety of
I
all
do-
of our children.
I do
and that work, in part, has earned me
think
the
that there's some
endorsement of
advantages
Virginia's Police
when it comes to-
Benevolent Association.
Stop talking, Winsome.
Spanberger is talking. Please let her
On
finish.
issues related to what's happening in our schools and each individual community, I think it's important that we have parents and
Yes.
teachers and
Conversations gotta be
administrators
had.
making decisions about their individual schools, not politicians. And
Yeah,
if we're talking
conversations
about
gotta
the safety
be
of our
had.
children, I would ask
Because,
why
like,
my opponent
the
continues to
individual
support efforts to
athlete,
defund public
I think
safety,
it boils
an
down
effort
to,
carried on continually
honestly,
by this
Ms. Spanberger,
administration.
Because some of the athletes physically maybe like more similar depending on when they transit. Oh, I ain't hear about the bathrooms and sports teams.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent
Yeah, Abigail, what are you
upon
saying?
parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earle-Sears?
There should never be
We're gonna get
nude
to you in a
men
moment.
in
Oh my
locker
goodness, we
rooms.
finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms.
Have you
Earle-Sears.
finally
opponent-
Ms.
said
Earle-Sears,
that
you were
now?
just
lying.
intruding on
Are we in
time here. We're
agreement
trying.
now? Are you
Ms.
going to
Earle-Sears?
tell?
This is not how you
This is Ms.
debate.
Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger.
They gotta cut our
Would
mic.
you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
Great question.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers
That's
and
a yes or
educators,
no.
are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each
That's a great
community.
answer.
girls
And
need
that is important,
privacy.
and I say
That's
that
a great
as a mother
answer.
of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
Leave
and
it
as
to
someone
the
who
districts, the
used to
districts, the
investigate crimes
jurisdictions.
against children.
Jurisdictions.
The way that we
Leave
keep
it
our
up to the
children
jurisdictions
safe
and the
is by
people and the
ensuring that they're
parents.
safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But
at
Ms.
its-
Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
And my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be
Parents don't want
dictated
their
by
girl children-
politicians.
Please don't interrupt. We're coming to you next.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. Ms. Earle-Sears, you say that you do not support biological males identifying as females playing in girls' sports and have pledged to sign legislation restricting bathrooms by birth sex. Does this position discriminate against transgender girls? You have 60 seconds.
I'm not for discriminating against anyone. What I'm saying is just very plain common sense. And I'm going
Okay.
to answer the question my opponent refused to answer, which is simply this.
Then
I will
answer the
not
question.
rescind the
Don't
governor's
talk about your
executive
opponent.
order. We know that girls want to have privacy. It's really that simple. And my opponent
Everybody
will
has the
not
right to
answer the
privacy.
question because she voted for men nude in girls' locker rooms, in bathrooms, and in girls' sports. She will refuse to protect our girls in Title IX, which is simply, an opportunity for girls to have their safe space. This is not hard. Are you going to change in a gym where men are nude in the locker rooms? Are you going to do that, Abigail?
Ms. Earle-Sears.
I don't think you will. What about your girl children if they came home crying and said that
Ms.
there was a
Earle-Sears,
male
we're gonna
in
do
the
a
locker
follow-up
room?
question with you.
What would you do?
You will both have a chance to rebut, too, so I want to make sure that you both understand that. Ms. Earle-Sears, a follow-up question now. You said in supporting that bathroom legislation that this is, quote, a safety issue.
It is.
Are transgender students a safety threat? Yes or no, and why? You have 30 seconds.
I'm sorry, how did you ask that?
Are transgender students a safety threat? Yes
Great
or
question.
no?
What's
and
your
why?
answer?
You have 30 seconds.
So we know that biological men are larger in strength than women. We understand this. This is biology. If you look at football teams, you can see the difference between males and females. This is not hard. And that's why I'm asking my opponent.
Not every
if your little girl
transgender
comes home and said she
woman
was forced to undress
or
in the locker room
transgender
with a
girl is going to
biological
be
boy, what would
a
you say? She's
former
crying.
biological
What would
male
you say?
who's
Would
peaked
you-
into like
what- are you
prime
not going to
physical
answer?
strength is
Ms.
what I'm trying to
Earle-Sears,
say.
now we're going to go
And
to
I'm not the
opportunity
perfect
for
person to talk
rebuttal
about
now, and
this.
Ms.
So if
Spanberger,
I'm
we're
saying
gonna start
anything
with
that's
you.
not
30
politically
seconds.
correct,
My
forgive
opponent
me.
was asked about her record of discrimination, and importantly, my opponent has previously said that she does not think that gay couples should be allowed to marry. She has
That's
said
not
that she is
discrimination.
quote unquote morally
That's not
Ms.
opposed
Earle-Sears,
to
this is
same-sex
Ms.
marriage.
Spanberger's time for
My
rebuttal.
opponent has also previously said that she thinks it's okay for someone to be fired from their job for being gay. That is
That's not
discrimination.
Ms.
No.
Spanberger, your time is up. And now, Ms. Earle-Sears, it's your turn for rebuttal.
Yes.
You have 30 seconds.
Yes. So again, I want you to go to SpanbergerLies.com. Listen, she's talk about defunding and
She
all
keeps
that.
saying
You know
that
who
website.
voted to defund the police? You did. When you voted for the Justice and Policing Act, you voted for that, and you took money from the PAC that said we must defund the police and get rid of their qualified immunity. When are you going to give back that money? Thousands of dollars. I will not
Ms.
defund the
Earle-Sears, your
police
time is
or
up.
get rid of their
We have
qualified
other
immunity.
topics to get to. We're going to move on now to reproductive rights. Deanna?
Thanks, Tom. Abortion is legal in Virginia through the second trimester with limited third trimester exceptions. There's also a push to codify abortion access in our state constitution. Ms. Earle-Sears, you have supported both a 15-week and 6-week abortion limit. As
Ooh, okay.
governor, what would you advocate for? You have 60 seconds.
So my position is that the Commonwealth needs to come together and figure out where it wants to be. It's not going to be my view. It's going to be a view of the majority. My opponent,
so
on the
she's
other hand,
allowed
has
to let the
extremist
Commonwealth come
view,
together
which is
for this?
abortion up until the very hour that the baby could be born, up until the very minute. And so you would have a baby aborted on the table. What do we do then, Abigail?
Has she said that?
Ms. Earle-Sears.
Yeah, it's your
There
time.
with a full live baby aborted on
Miss
the
Earle-
minute
I don't like her
it could be
debate
born.
style.
Ms. Earle-Sears, I need you to ask the question that I'm asking. I'm asking the
Answer
questions here, and so I want
the
to know
question that she
about
asking,
what
yeah.
would you advocate for in terms of a limit? I know that you just said it's not about your view, but you will have veto powers if you became governor. So what would you be willing to support as governor?
So I've
You have 30
answered-
seconds.
So I've answered the question. I've said it's not my view. It's going to be what the majority of Virginians want. And by the way, there's a constitutional amendment, and the voters will make that decision.
Thank you, Ms.
She's allowed to
Earle-Sears.
have
Ms.
that
Spanberger,
stance
you say you want to
on
keep Virginia the last bastion of reproductive freedom in the
reproductive
South.
rights,
Do you support
but
any limits
when
on abortion?
Abigail had
You
that
have 60 seconds.
view on
When the Dobbs
transgenders
decision was made,
and
it was
transgender
very
rights,
quickly
it was
clear that
it was
state
wrong.
after state would move to restrict abortion access, as my opponent has previously supported. In states where they further restricted abortion
you
access,
abortion
Ms. Earle-Sears,
women
until the
Ms.
time the
have
baby
died.
could be born.
Women
They
that
have
are
to cut
pregnant
her
with
mic,
very
yo.
wanted children, women with
Like, you're making for a bad
pregnancies were sent
debate
home,
by talking
and
through
women
her.
have died. If
Save
my
it for your
opponent were
rebuttal.
to become governor, that is what she would inflict
Don't
upon
lie like that,
Virginia.
Ms. Earle-Sears,
I
Don't lie like
Ms.
support
Earle-Sears,
Don't do
I
that.
Ms.
support the
Earle-Sears,
Roe
Virginia's voters cannot
standard.
hear if you're talking over Ms.
I
Spanberger. Please
support
give her time.
the Roe standard.
Don't do that.
I support the constitutional amendment
Cut her
that is
mic.
moving forward.
Cut the mic.
That makes clear the
Bad, Abigail.
Ms. Earle-Sears,
I support
it's
the-
difficult to hear hear Ms. Spanberger if you're talking over her.
I support the Roe standard, which is what this codification of a constitutional amendment moving forward would be. That's what I will support as governor, though I will not have a vote on it. I will support it. But importantly, my opponent has threatened murder to women who have had abortions.
Thank
That is
you.
not the type of leadership we need
Murder.
Ms.
here in the
Spanberger, you're
Commonwealth.
out of time. I just
no,
want to follow
I
up.
need a rebuttal.
Well,
I need a
Ms.
rebuttal. I'm
Earle-Sears, I have
sorry.
to follow up right now because it was difficult for me to hear Ms. Spanberger, and I need to make sure that I have clarity on her answer. So just to be clear, are there any limits that you support in terms of abortion access,
These,
including for minors? You have 30
what are
seconds.
they
I
called?
support the current laws within Virginia, which include limits on minors obtaining
They are
abortions,
the-
which include limits after the second trimester. I
do you call 'em?
support
Voted.
those, the current
The
laws
people
here in
overseeing the
Commonwealth of
debate
Virginia,
have
and
a
that
a
is
tough
what
job.
is moving forward as a constitutional amendment here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We are now going to move on to immigration.
I
with
thought I
Tom.
was going to get an
thank you.
opportunity to rebut.
We're moving on to other topics. We have a lot to cover tonight, Ms. Earle-Sears, so we'll get to you in a moment on a different topic. Now it's immigration and public safety. We're going to
This
start
said,
with
on to
Governor
the
Glenn
next,
Youngkin
shorty.
has tasked Virginia State Police with helping ICE to remove people living in the country illegally. Ms. Spanberger, we're going to start with you. You've said using local and state police for ICE raids is dangerous. Are there any situations in which you would support local law enforcement assisting
Great
ICE? You have 60
question.
seconds.
What are they talking
Absolutely.
about?
I'm a former federal agent. I used to work narcotics and
Okay.
money laundering cases. I regularly worked on task force arrests and search warrants
then you
in
know fentanyl
partnership
came across
with
the border.
Ms.
local
Earle-Sears,
and
you'll
state
get your
police.
chance.
As a federal law enforcement officer. Importantly, anytime there is a warrant, an arrest warrant, a search warrant to detain someone, absolutely local law enforcement, local resources should and must be employed. That is why, as my opponent has somewhat erroneously said, I never, ever would support making Virginia providing any sort of sanctuary policies here, because
Okay.
local
Said
and
out of
state
your own
law
mouth.
enforcement must always work
said
with
it
Cut
out of
the
federal
mic.
agencies
Cut
when
the
there
mic.
is a warrant. Importantly, what I have been talking about, and anytime there is someone with any level of criminality, someone wanted for a criminal offense, absolutely that cooperation shouldn't just occur, but it must.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. Now, Ms. Earle-Sears, you've said you support local law enforcement's involvement with ICE raids, but critics argue that in high immigrant communities, they're seeing fewer people reporting crimes and cooperating with police. Now, are you concerned about those negative impacts to public safety? You have 60 seconds.
So I'm just going to say, folks, go to SpanbergerLies.com. I think we're about up to number 10. She's accused of murder, which is very interesting because the very person who spouted murder, you won't even say that they should get out of the race, and now you're talking about this? My goodness gracious. We have found 4,000 illegals who are criminally here, and the number 3 MS-13 gang leader here we found. We
My
have
bad.
found communist Chinese gangs here. We have found cartel members here, and they're here because my opponent did not vote to shut down our borders. And because of you and that vote, fentanyl came across the borders and killed 5 Virginians every week. Where were you when we needed you for that vote? And then out of your own mouth, Abigail, you have said the first thing you're going to do is to make Virginia a sanctuary state. I didn't say
She
that.
just said she's not
You
gonna do that.
said
Ms. Earle-Sears?
That's your lie,
Ms.
if you're
Earle-Sears,
going
your
to
time
say
is
that.
up, and the question was, are you concerned about people not being able to, or not cooperating with police, those people who are here possibly illegally for fear of being deported? That was the question we were looking for, the answer to that question. You have 15 seconds to clarify.
So as an immigrant to this great country, I understand that the first part of obeying the laws of the country is that we have to obey the laws of the country. And I am focusing on those who are criminally, illegally here. And we don't need them here. And my opponent did not vote for the Lake
Ms.
and
Earle-Sears?
Riley Act, which simply said if you're criminally, illegally
time is
here,
up.
murderers, rapists,
Ms. Earle-Sears, your time is
pedophiles
up.
have to go back
Your
home.
time
We're
is
going to move
up.
on to the
Yo,
next topic, education, with my colleague Deanna.
Thank you, Tom. Now on the topic of education, educating children in the Commonwealth is a top issue for Virginia voters in this election, as it was 4 years ago. Ms. Earle-Sears, you have stated you want parents more involved in their children's education. Would you include parents in designing school curriculum, or should that be left up to the educators? You have 60 seconds.
Great question.
Yes. So I absolutely believe that parents ought to be
Should
involved
parents
in their
be, but
child's
to what
education.
degree should parents be
You know,
involved?
I am my child's
'Cause
first teacher.
parents
and I don't co-parent
aren't
with the
always
government. And so that's why I strongly
educated.
support
Let's
parents
just be real.
being involved in education. But you know who
Adults aren't
doesn't?
always
My opponent, Abigail
educated or
Spanberger.
knowing what they're
She
talking
had
about.
the opportunity to vote for the Parents' Rights Act, but she didn't. It simply said this: if the curriculum is being
No.
changed, then I need to know as a parent. Abigail, why did you vote against parents on that? And it also said if my child is not on grade level, reading, writing, arithmetic, all of that by the 3rd grade, then I as a parent needs to know. Abigail voted against the parents knowing where their child was by the time they were on grade level. Why would you do that? Why are you voting against parents? Why are you not voting for them? Then she voted against.
I don't care about what
the parents
Abigail got
knowing
to
whether
say. I
there
care
was
about what you got
violence
to
in the
say right
schools.
now.
Abigail, this is a simple question. Why did you vote for that? Why would you vote for parents not knowing if violence is being
Ms.
committed?
Earle-Sears, I have a follow-up question for
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm specifically asking not just about general involvement in education, but about designing the school curriculum more specifically. So is that something you believe parents should be involved in, or do you believe that educators should be taking the lead and it should be left up to them? You have 30 seconds.
As I said, parents, we are their parents all day, twice on Sundays. We are their parents.
Educators should
We
definitely
must
take
be
the lead.
involved. How will we know what is happening in the schools? How will we know if our children are being educated? You know, when
she
Ralph
asking you
Northam,
who
the
should take the
Democrat governor,
lead, though?
voted to shut down government, he shut down our schools, and as a result, there was a learning loss. And my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, when we wanted to reopen the schools, the governor immediately said upon inauguration, the schools must be open. Abigail said, no, they must be out for a whole semester. She took all that money from the teachers union,
Earle-Sears.
and that's what they wanted, and that's what
Ms.
she voted
Earle-Sears, you're
for.
out of time. Ms. Spanberger, should the governor and state agencies decide which books are in school classrooms, or should parents have a voice in that decision? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools, and just this week, I have spent time at my daughter's school for a school event, and I have emailed with another one of my daughter's teachers about her ongoing work. So she should be advised that I've had some of that communication. But it is important that parents are involved every step of the way, as I have been.
Then
In
why did
fact,
you vote against
with
Mr.
my
Earle-Sears?
Shut
Ms.
with
Earle-Sears,
my
up.
ninth grade daughter, who is
Please.
actually here with us in the audience, it's because of communication from her teacher that I purchased the books that she'll be studying. Parent engagement is extraordinarily important, and I support the strength of our public schools because public schools across Virginia provide
But your vote was
opportunity.
not
They
that.
provide opportunity
Ms.
to
Earle-Sears.
students everywhere. And unlike my opponent, I do not support
You are
defunding
your
public
vote,
Ms.
schools.
Earle-Sears.
I do not support taking public dollars out of public schools, as my opponent has advocated
you
for the
say,
entirety.
but not
Ms.
what you
Earle-Sears,
do.
Ms. Earle-Sears, we're not going to be able to get to as many topics if we keep having to give Ms.
Yeah,
Spanberger
but
time
she
as you're
continues
interrupting
to
her.
lie. I think I'm up to lie 12.
But Ms.
My
Ms.
opponent is-
Earle-Sears, you will
Abigail.
have chance.
To answer your question, Lieutenant Governor, it was federal government overreach and
moving
an
on to the next
unfunded
topic.
mandate.
yeah, here
That
we
is
go.
what I told my
Candidates.
Here we
Republican
go.
colleagues
We're
at the
moving on to
time.
the
If you
next
want to be
topic now.
federal, you should have stayed in
Ms.
Congress.
Earle-Sears,
Oh, I said it was
it's
federal
time to
overreach,
move on
ma'am.
to the
If
next
you wanted
topic.
to be
So
federal, you should have
Moving
stayed
on to
in
the next
Congress.
topic now, please. We're going to go to Ms. Spanberger here on the topic of marijuana. You have stated your support legalizing a retail market for recreational marijuana that
Hey.
prioritizes public
Let's
safety.
go, Big Ab.
What public safety concerns do you have? You have 30 seconds.
It's important that there be transparency in what
Let's
is
go,
available
Big
on the
Abigail.
market. As a former federal agent who worked narcotics cases, as a CIA officer who tracked transnational criminal organizations, as the only person on stage who's had bills signed into
Which is
law
why you
by
should
President
have
Trump
voted
related to
for the
stopping the
Laken
flow
Riley
of
Act.
fentanyl
We can't hear
into
whenever
our
you're talking over each other.
country.
Please continue.
As the only person on stage who's had
Wow.
a bill signed into law by President Trump restricting fentanyl flowing into our country and tightening our border security,
follow
and as the
your
only
vote.
person on stage
didn't
with
follow
the
your vote.
endorsement
Ms.
of the
Earle-Sears.
Police
What in the world?
Benevolent Association, it is extraordinarily important that we have transparency and that there is a clear market in order to be enforced, because it is in the absence of an open and clear and
We gotta get like Maryland.
extraordinarily transparent market that law enforcement is not able
Don't even know
to
what you're saying.
Ms. Spanberger, your time is up. Now we'll go to Ms. Earle-Sears on this issue. The governor has twice vetoed bipartisan efforts to legalize a retail market for recreational cannabis. Would you sign a bill legalizing the commercial sale of any cannabis products in Virginia? You have 30 seconds.
I believe in medicinal marijuana. I believe it has value. But you know, I had a business, and when I had my business and my employees came up positive for marijuana, they couldn't work for me. They couldn't drive my trucks. They couldn't go in and repair anything. We were working on gas. We're working on electric. We can't afford to have people who are working and they don't know what they're doing. They'll blow everything up. Now, my opponent, I
Oh my
don't
God.
understand. You know, she says one thing and then she does another, or she does one thing and says another.
Your time
We
is up,
can't
Ms.
figure
Sears.
her out.
Ms. Earle-Sears, your time is up.
Yeah,
who
cut
are
her
you,
time.
Abigail?
They're cutting her song. Every time she shifted, they cut her song.
Administration, and I'm going to be starting with you for this topic. A central theme of your campaign is let's keep a good thing going, referring to Governor Youngkin's time in office. Is there anything that you would do differently? You have 30
Okay,
seconds.
I like that they're doing that
So the
though.
governor and
They
I
just
have
moving
had
through
many
questions.
talks, as you can imagine. We ran as a team and we work as a team. And I'd been previously elected.
They
in
see that she gonna
2001, and
just
then I left
ramble
political
on like
office,
that.
and,
They say,
you know,
all right,
I
well,
saw how
next
badly
question.
Our children were not being educated, and so I came back. I said somebody ought to do something, and I figured that was me. So the governor and I, as I've said, we've created all of these wonderful jobs. In fact, my opponent was before the State Chamber of Commerce and saying in January that she was running on the successes of all the businesses that we've been able to bring here. Now she's suddenly running away from it.
Just a quick follow-up, Ms. Earle-Sears. So is there one thing that you would do differently from Governor Youngkin? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
So you know who wasn't running away from all the wonderful successes we've had in bringing jobs here? My opponent. She loved everything that we've done. So why would I run away? And by the way, the things that I'm talking with the governor about, I'm not going to disclose here to you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Earle-Sears. Ms. Spanberger, Governor Youngkin is wrapping up his term with positive approval ratings, according to our Emerson College Next
That
Star
wasn't an
poll.
answer.
Are there any Youngkin
The things I'm
policies or
talking to the
priorities
governor
you would
about, I'm
keep
not
if
gonna
you were
disclose
elected
here with
governor?
you.
You have 30 seconds.
Absolutely. I think Governor Youngkin has made a strong path forward on advanced nuclear, welcoming advanced nuclear here to the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's something that I supported during my time in Congress, and as governor, I will continue to ensure that Virginia
is
can be
solar.
a leader. Ma'am, that is not true.
That's true.
I
That's
support
all
an
you
all of
said
the
you
above
wanted.
strategy,
You
and
know
I
that.
think
Ms.
advanced nuclear
Earle-Sears,
is
I
extraordinarily
need you
important.
to let her speak.
But importantly, places where I do
Michael Bills isn't
differ,
going to let you have
places
Ms.
where I
Earle-Sears.
differ would be on the fact that Virginia lost its place as the #1 place for business, and we have had 7 months of rising
you going to
unemployment
let her?
rates here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I
Thank
would
you.
work to lower costs
she's
and
still
grow
talking.
our economy
Thank you, Ms.
in the face of these
Spanberger.
challenges.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We're moving on to our next question.
Yeah, we are winding down tonight, and we want to end with one fun question. So this will be, I think, something that will bring a smile to our faces tonight. The mother of presidents is the state of Virginia. A little history lesson here. So Virginia has 8 U.S.-born presidents. We'll start with Ms. Spanberger. Which one is your favorite? You have 30 seconds.
As a UVA alumna, I'm going to have to go with Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
And why?
Because he started the university, with all due respect to graduates of other universities.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have Ms. Earle-Sears. Who is your favorite Virginia president?
Well, I would have to say it would have to be the very first one, George Washington. He was a profile in courage, absolutely. It is because of him why we don't have monarchs here. It is because of him why we have a constitutional republic.
Thank
Without
you.
him, I don't think we would have had what
Thank
we
you,
have today.
Ms. Earle-Sears. We
We
want
keep
to make sure
counting
that we
on
get
his,
to closing
we don't
statements, so we'll
what you
begin with you. You have
Washingtons.
30 seconds.
Thank you
My
for
bad, I didn't hear the
coming,
question.
and those of you who are listening. This is
It's a closing
momentous
remark.
occasion, and it's very important. And you know, I ran a men's prison ministry, as I've said. I have mopped the floors of a homeless shelter, and I have given quite a bit of my life to service. I'm a United